What's up, Warriors fans, and welcome back to Warriors Latest. As always, I am your host, Max Arizin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoy the show today, as I do post new Warriors videos daily. Now, I saw something interesting that I never really perceived as an issue. I understood it as a nuisance, but never really something that was going to be brought up and to the point where things actually change. And that's what I guess Steve Kerr called the hot stove contact. And by that, I mean, say you're going up for a shot, you shoot the ball, and then they hit your hand after the shot. That's now a foul. I mean, I understood it wasn't a foul before because it was just part of the game. Like, you hit the guide hand technically counts as part of the ball. Like, your shooting hand, just the tips of it counted as part of the ball. But now it gets interesting because now that's a foul in the NBA. And with that being a foul, things get really, really, really interesting with the Warriors because as Steve Kerr said, 6 years ago, Steph has been a victim of those kinds of contact since his career began. He has one of the fastest releases in the NBA, and I just checked it. It's at zero point 0.4 seconds, over a millisecond and a half faster than the league average. And that just says he gets the ball, he throws it up. Now, we've all seen him do that firsthand. So we know how quick he gets it out. But when you're a defender trying to go after that and block the shot, you're not even looking at the ball, you're just swiping. And now that Steph has that rule playing to his advantage, I could definitely see the Warriors taking full advantage of this from a strategy perspective, as well as Steph averaging some new career highs. Now, the last time a guy averaged over 35, I believe, was 2018 with James Harden. Now that Steph is going to get these free throws from the line and potentially disqualify players later in the games, I see the Warriors literally winning games by guys fouling out and Steph going to the line maybe, I want to say, up to 15 to 20 times a game. And this is different than how, say, James Harden does his foul hunting and is a so-called foul merchant. This isn't Seth selling a foul. This isn't Steph selling the foul. I looked it up. Unfortunately, Seth might not be a big beneficiary of this new rule, though he may get contact, but his overall shot is actually slower than 0.54 seconds. So I don't know if it's going to benefit, but back to Steph. Now, this is going to benefit Steph because, again, he is going to get those shots up, and he is still going to score. And Steph getting these shots, he's actually getting hit. He's not trying to sell a foul. He's not trying to just constantly find ways to get to the line. He's just going to shoot the ball. I want to say maybe 4 to 6 times out of 10, he's going to make that shot for the and 4, or for the and 1 in the 4-point play. And when you're say this happens, I want to say you have a 1-point lead, and this happens 3 times in a row, next thing you know, you're up 13. So I definitely see the Warriors playing this to their advantage and at least finding ways to get Steph more shots. Because they're going to find ways to, say, disqualify players that are guarding him. They're going to find ways to switch so a guy that's being a problem for the Warriors is going to be guarding Steph, and he's the one that's going to get the foul. And if he gets into foul trouble and he's their main player, the Warriors are going to take full advantage while he's on the bench and then boost that lead from maybe 2, 3, 4 to 15, 16, 17. So I definitely see this as a huge strategic win for the Warriors. But on top of other wins, I want to go and give some praise to a guy who's been pretty good so far this preseason. And I know it's only preseason, but Will Richard has really shown this winning attitude that I did not anticipate coming from him. I mean, yes, he does have that pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality. He started at a smaller school, transferred to Florida. Florida wins the title, the NCAA title, and now he's with the Warriors as the 56th pick in this past year's draft. But I like the fact that he's played, in the opportunity that he's getting. First with the Lakers, playing some hard-nosed defense against them, and as well, especially against the Trailblazers. Now, we all saw what happened. The Warriors were down 21, and it looked like by, I want to say, 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it looked like that game was over. I mean, I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, are they going to come back? I mean, they got their garbage time players coming in, so you had, like, Will Richard, you had Pods, you had, who else? You had Kuminga for a little bit. I want to say, or no, it was Trace Jackson Davis, Guy Santos, and maybe a little bit. And obviously Quentin Post in there. So you didn't expect them to do anything. The Blazers were riding high. They were trying to take this this easy preseason win into what's probably going to be a very bad season. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought this game was over, but with the help of both Quentin Post, Will Richards, Guy Santos, and Trace Jackson Davis, they were able to come back, and I believe they ended up winning by 6, 129-123, if I remember correctly. That says a lot. And Richards, we look at Quentin Post. He did his job. He knew what he was doing, and he got the job done, scoring 20 points, 4 for 9 from the three-point line. He was the main factor. But you got guys like Will Richard who's playing this hard-nosed defense. He's doing what he can in the rebound category a little bit, the assist category, as well as scoring a few baskets. But that hard-nosed defense is what helped the Warriors really start to build momentum to make that huge comeback. So kudos to him, and I definitely see this as potentially being the biggest, or maybe one of the steals of this year's past draft. As we know, there were a lot of guys that came out, like Ace Bailey, Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, guys like that. But at the end of the first round, as well as the second round, it's a mixed bag. So I definitely see the Warriors potentially finding another dime in the rough who's going to be a serious rotation player come the regular season as it progresses. Say some guys sort of fall out of the rotation. Will Richard, next man up, and I love that mentality that he has going into the season. Now, going into the weekend, we got round 2 of the Lakers-Warriors matchups. Now, this is the second of what is 3 games they play against each other this October. So I believe these kinds of games are going to, let's say, really set the tone for the Western Conference going forward. Now, if the Warriors find a way to go undefeated in the preseason, that's going to be huge going into the regular season because they're going to have that winning mindset already there. And I think this has a lot to do, or if that does happen, this has a lot to do with that training camp that Jimmy held down in San Diego. Just building that right mindset. And each win is a little build off the last one. And if they continue this, they could potentially go, say, 15-5 or even 16-4 to start the season. And once they get that hot, once a team just gets that hot off the bat. We look at Oklahoma City last year. They got off to a hot start. I don't believe they ever relinquished first place the entire season. But once they got that hot, there was no stopping them. And since there was no stopping them, they, outside of that final round against Indiana, which conspiracy theory, I think, may have been extended because of the NBA. I feel like they just had everybody's number. And if they have everybody's number because of that hot start, championship, here we come. So this Laker game is important for setting that tone on Sunday. I know it's the preseason, but getting those guys, especially the bench guys, in the right mindset is the most important thing. Because we know Jimmy, Draymond, Steph, Kuminga, Al Horford, Moses Moody, they all know what it's like to win a championship. They've been there before back in 2022. The rest of the team, well, outside of Al Horford, who won it in 24, but he was part of the Celtics who lost in 22. But outside of them, nobody has been that deep into the playoffs before. Like, nobody's been to the conference finals. Like, they don't know what to expect from him. I'll say Will Richards potentially has that kind of postseason experience because of what happened last year at Florida, but it's a different ball game when you get to the NBA. or as I like to say, it's a different ball game when the show starts. So it's important for this win to happen and the Warriors to continue their undefeated streak. But bottom line is, like, everything, like, things are falling. How do I put this? Things are going the right direction for the Warriors. They're not falling into place just yet, but they're starting to look good. From the new rule where that's going to allow Steph to score relentlessly and potentially affect the overall strategy for the Warriors, because you know what, maybe they don't have another 7-footer by the time January rolls around, and they have to strategize by always having their big, like always having, say, like Quentin Post or Al Horford sit at the corner for an open three and then draw their big man out to create space in order for like the likes of Jimmy or Draymond to drive to the basket while also having Steph at the top of the key. That's going to be their strategy, and just knowing that when they block, if they hit the hand, it's going to be at least 3 free throws. So they're going to benefit from that tremendously, and with Will Richard on the team helping with that mindset, I feel like he's going to help with that second unit, especially with the hard-nosed playing style that he's been showing for the last 2 games. So I see that going well, and then going into Sunday, I see them winning and going 3-0 in the preseason, as both Luka Doncic and Marcus Smart are game-time decisions, but knowing after last weekend's loss to the Warriors, they might be a little more motivated to play, as they're both listed as game-time decisions. That being said, they know they have to set the tone as well. Luka, for the Lakers, he's their new franchise player. LeBron is gone, most likely, after this year. So he's got to help set the tone and show after this past offseason that he's learned how to be a winner, in the sense of, I can't just fool around with my body. I have to actually be the kind of leader by vocally as well as by example. And a way to be a leader by example is to win a big, important, like a rivalry preseason game like this. It's like Giants-Jets preseason. It really doesn't matter. Like, who wins really doesn't matter in the scheme of things, but it's a set the tone. It's the Battle of New York, that kind of idea. So for the Lakers and the Warriors, this game is important for to win for the Warriors, and they need to do what it takes in order to continue to build on that momentum. Now, that's all we have today for Warriors Latest. As always, if you enjoyed the show today, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you have certain expectations for Sunday's game, feel free to comment below, as I do love hearing your ideas. And as always, go Dubs.